Hi, my name is Paul Shore, and you are watching The Street Speaks, a spontaneous speaker's corner for Montrealers. Why am I doing this? Well, last year I went around the city and I interviewed about 100 Montrealers in English and in French about a whole range of issues. But when I asked them, when was the last time a journalist or a politician asked you for your opinion about anything, almost all of them said never. So this is my attempt at an unfiltered platform for Montrealers to express themselves, to speak up, to speak out, to share a story, to laugh, to cry, to rant, to rave. Well, let me ask you, do you have a smartphone?
I do. It's in my pocket right now.
Are you touching it?
Yes. I want to know when it vibrates.
Do you sleep next to your phone?
I do. It's my alarm, so I guess that's my justification. I just leave my alarm on, for example. I'll probably just grab my phone and then fall back asleep with my phone in my hand.
In bed?
In bed, yeah.
Actually, I do because it's my alarm. So.
Do you check your email before you go to bed or when you wake up in the morning? Or your Facebook or any of those types of things?
Definitely email in the morning, because one of my main things now is like I get up in the morning and I check my emails.
When I wake up, yeah.
I can't imagine a world without the technology we have today at all.
Let me ask you, do you have a smartphone?
I do have a smartphone.
Do you have a Facebook account?
I do.
Why do you say it like that?
I hate them.
Why?
Because they're actually addictive.
Yeah, I have a cell phone.
Why do you say it like that?
Because it's cool, but it feels like I look at it too much. And when I look at it too much, I'm less in the moment. I mean, you can be in the moment looking at the phone too. But I went 2 weeks without a cell phone, and I met the coolest people.
Do you check your email before you go to bed or when you wake up in the morning?
When I wake up, yeah.
First thing?
Yeah, sometimes I do it like when I sit in bed because, I shut the alarm off and I do it not before bed because it's not good, but in the morning, yeah.
Because there's nothing more terrifying than waking up and having like 50 emails you haven't read after relaxing for 2 hours.
I make a point not to check my email past 6 o'clock.
Why?
Because I become tethered to technology and I can feel that.
Do you really need it?
Do I really need it? Well, it's the lazy part of me who needs it.
And I'll get stuck in like a scrolling cycle where I'll just find myself scrolling and have to snap myself out of it. You're just automatically doing it.
You're an addict.
I think
Aren't we
you
all?
could, yeah, I mean.
And it's similar to how I feel about drugs, I think. Am I not allowed to talk about drugs?
Yeah, you can
talk about drugs.
Yeah, we can talk about all drugs.
Okay, all drugs. I think drugs and technology, they're all gifts. They all are there for a reason. They can help you out. They can show you something. They're shortcuts. Shortcuts to communication. Shortcuts to, with drugs, relaxing or seeing what we're capable of. But they show us something that we're capable of without, I really think. It'll probably come as no surprise that Montrealers are chock full of strong opinions and amazing personal stories to share. But our city is also home to countless talented artists whose voices should really be celebrated. So each week, we'll invite some of Montreal's finest up onto our soapbox.
My iPhone makes me feel like a real asshole because it's this amazing piece of technology that I basically just use for the internet. I don't have any apps on it. It's like I'm this millionaire that lives in a mansion but just hangs out in one room in the house because I'm too lazy to check the rest of the place out. And I walk around glued to it, just hearing my inner voice heckling me like, oh, there goes Jess, just wasting perfectly good technology. Do you know what a child in Africa would do with a phone like that? Lift themselves out of poverty, start a non-governmental organization, maybe adopt an American child as a status symbol.
There was terrorism in my country, so we left. We find here peace and security for me and my kids. So we came here.
We don't think about this before we immigrate. We're just looking for a better life, for a safety, for dignity, for, I won't say freedom, basic human rights and dignity.
I knew nothing about real culture until I came here to Canada.
When I got in Montreal, I started to see, oh, this person is this and that person's that. And I started to get an understanding of who I was as a person and like what my heritage was, because I had no idea. I just knew that I was around black people, and just looking at myself, I thought I was just black. When I got here, I started to realize that I was multicultural, multiracial.
Nothing was a shock that much for me. But some of people, they talking about the culture shock, something. But when I was in my country, it was like culture shock for me already. You know, my country is like very conservative.
Cultural shock, of course. You know, like when first I saw two people like kissing each other in the street, I was like, oh my God, what is the police? What is going on? You know, it was a very strange experience.
And when you come here, you forget about this thing because they are available, of course. It's safe place, it's wonderful, it's 5-star place. But there are this difficulty that makes you don't feel these things, you feel something else.
The most difficult part about immigration, when you feel that gap between you and your family, and you're looking for your identity and you're not, you know, there are a lot of contradictory aspects of yourself.
So when you came to Canada, what were the biggest challenges?
It's culture, yes. It's not like my country, because in my country when we find somebody, we say hi, hello, how are you? But here no neighbors, no. It was very hard for me.
Everybody say we start from zero. So let's say, what is the zero that everybody talking about? It's zero in terms of friends, zero in terms of financial, zero in terms of history, zero in terms of memory. So you are starting a new life.
It's very hard to settle down as a new immigrant, you know, to find a job, to settle down here.
You start to make connection, even language. It was zero. So to communicate, you need to get the language to talk to people, and this needs time.
There's some obstacle to be the mainstream. So that's why their second generation is not that easy, you know, adapt themselves in the new circumstances again. So sometimes I see like a circulation of poverty again.
I love the diversity of Montreal. I love the you can walk down the street and hear 4 or 5 different languages just on a given 5 minutes. You know, I love that about Montreal, and I love also being able to juggle back and forth. You know, sometimes you'll have a conversation in English and a little French will come out. I love that. You don't hear that many other places. You know.
Well, on the government part, basically not treat English as a threat, but just treat it as an advantage, and really have both, you know, in school. Have better French courses, have better English courses.
French is not an easy language to learn, but it's tough for me because I'm from Trinidad, and you know, some of the people, like when I try to learn French, some people laugh at me because of my accent and what's not, but like, and I don't take it on that much.
It's not just about practicing, it's about finding the time to like really sit down and be like, I'm very serious about the grammar and the syntax and really understanding what I'm trying to say. And that just takes more time. It's going to take more concentrated effort.
And I have better French courses as well. Many people here can't really talk right or spell right, either in French or in English, or even sometimes in both. So, you know, just value more the language.
Language for me has never defined how I judge a person, how I feel about somebody. But I often do feel like I get judged for being Anglophone in a French society.
I always struggled with French. It was always pretty hard for me. So moving here was definitely a challenge. I mean, insofar as the McGill community and the Anglophone student community is quite insulated.
Yeah, no, I didn't really start needing to speak French until I started working at Laurent. And then I was the only Anglophone, and I learned moderately quickly, I'm gonna say. I, picked some up, not all of it good, and not any type of proper French.
People literally, if you address them by mistake in English, let's say, and they're francophone, will completely ignore you. Some are decent enough and like, on essaie de se débrouiller, tu sais, dans l'autre langue.
But yeah, it remains a struggle. I certainly I don't know if fluency will ever be an option for me, but I enjoy listening to my friends speak it fluently. So
I understand it perfectly because I've lived here my entire life, but speaking it is really hard.
It's sad. It's honestly the people who close themselves off to speaking English, or those who do speak English, are essentially closing themselves off to business, to culture, you know.
I don't know if Montreal is a good place to meet someone. I feel like everybody is like, maybe it's because it's a town, I don't know. But I feel like everybody is kind of playing.
Everything around us is telling us to like, you know, be ourselves and like, oh yeah, strive towards greatness, and like you have everything inside you to be better. And like all these sentences are like somewhat, you know, very like solo, like egotistical, you know, and they're just like, you make it on your own.
But yeah, I mean, all I can say is just make a conscious effort to not bail on plans. When you make plans with people, that's something I used to do all the time because it was easy to just be like, oh no, I'm not gonna come out tonight. Some of my friends will see this and be like, yes, you totally do that. And I'm really like, one of my new priorities is to not do that anymore, to spend real time with real people.
Does it affect your relationships, your technology? What would do you call people on the phone ever, or you just text?
I call people on the phone and I text. And that's cool. Texting can be fun, it can be playful. As long as it's not abused, just like drugs, really.
I'm frustrated because I also I was like, okay, it's not working in real life, so I'm going to go on an application like Tinder or something. And I'm frustrated too because it's always assholes that I meet.
So any challenges in your love life with your boyfriend, with the different cultures, or tell me a story.
Really, between us, it's all love. I mean, he's bilingual, maybe more so than I am, and it's more our friends, you know, like his Franco friends who might not understand and think, oh, you know, is there a barrier of communication between you? You know, how does it work? But when you want it to work, it works, you know? You have love driving it.
I'm very proud to present to you the Street Speaks band, Montreal's finest, Skinny Bros.
What pisses me off about the whole like French English thing is like if you go into a store and like, you know, somebody speaks English but they play like they don't speak English and they'll just continue speaking French, I'll continue speaking English just because it's just like, it's not my job to accommodate to you. I'm coming into a store, you should be able to speak to me, you know what I mean? And a certain type of, if I'm speaking English, like what if I'm not from here? Are you gonna make me feel like an alien because I can't speak a certain language?
I was a French tutor. I love the French language. It's a very hard language to learn, so I understand why people like have trouble learning it. I just feel like it's worth saving.
If somebody does try to speak to me and I see that their English is broken but they're trying, I will so try to speak French with you with my broken French, and we'll try with each other.
I don't feel like judging people who speak English or who can't speak French, even if they do live here.
When I came, we didn't have that. We all got along together. Who could speak English or French, we tried to understand each other. And it worked pretty well.
Why did it change?
This is what I would like to know.
But it's fear. It's fear behind all of that, you know? Like from what I understand from my boyfriend who is francophone, the Quebec sovereignists, like the real Péquistes, are afraid to lose the language, afraid to lose what they consider to be a wonderful culture.
It's about like saving the language and helping other people learn it properly also. Because let's not pretend we speak it properly. We don't always.
Well, I think it's important because we are in a French country, so it's important to speak French, but it's important to speak a little English because it's a language international. So
I could understand where it's really important to preserve the French culture, but at the same time, they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot with a lot of the policies.
I would probably start a campaign letting everyone know, like, we're all equals here. No one's better than anyone. No language is more superior than the next. And that would be my campaign. Yeah, and I just feel like my motto would be, we are one.
it's important to speak French and English. I think so. But we're in Quebec, so French is the first language.
We can't let it die. We have to make an effort, but we don't have to be rude or annoying about it.
Polish and French is my roots, so I like to you know, like get a feel of that. But at the same time, you know, I'm born here, I'm raised here, so I really feel une appartenance au Québec. Like I feel that first and foremost.
Everything, I mean, English should be known. You know, we watch movies from the States, you know, English is international. It's an international language. But we should preserve our French Quebecer language. You know, we come from Quebec, we should preserve it because we are from Quebec. You know, we're born here, born and raised, let's preserve the language. C'est pour ça que moi, je parle pur québécois.
The challenge is always to adapt, integrate. What do you keep? What do you give up on? When you come, I think, like young, it's very easy to adapt and to integrate yourself, and yeah, you just become one of many.
The Muslim, we are stigmatized and pointed, many times when they tell me, are you Arabic? Are you Muslim? I say yes. Oh, you are terrorist. If you are Arabic, automatically you are Muslim, because they have no culture.
How does that make you feel?
Yes, I feel very. Sometimes when I am home, I cried because I know. I say, it's not my country. I try to be like every Canadian, and it's not my country, and I left my country to be here free, secure. It's very
hard, eh? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Do you feel connected at all to your either of your roots?
Actually, when I was here, I always felt like a mutt, that I was always mixed up and type of thing. I used to get like embarrassed when my friends used to come over and my mom would cook fish, like, oh my God, the whole house smelled like fish. But then I realized how Canadian I was when I went to the Philippines, and they served me some serious Filipino food and just like the whole culture shock, and I realized I'm totally Canadian to the bone. And I think like one day we're all just gonna be brown because everybody's just gonna get together and there's not gonna be like one purebred anything, you know?
Yeah. And then after a while, you start to adapt and to get into the culture. So yeah, you don't feel the same about your country anymore, right? So you go back after and you feel that you're at home, but not really. You're not like them anymore.
I'm free from the idea of being the Syrian in Montreal. No, I'm a citizen of the world with strong roots, with a strong story to tell. And this is how I feel everyone is. So I don't feel as a foreigner. I don't think the concept of foreigner is anymore. We are all foreigners to this world.
Whenever I meet somebody who finds out I'm Arab, they feel the need to compliment our food. Like, hey man, it's really nice to meet you. And I just want you to know, I really love falafel. It's like they panic. They meet an Arab for the first time, they're like, oh my God, quick. Say something nice before they explode. I am glad we make good food though. Otherwise we wouldn't have much going on for us, let's be honest. Aside from unwanted facial hair and anger, what a disaster. This is why I sincerely believe the most powerful word in the Arab language today is hummus. Right, you say hummus in front of white people, it puts them at ease. They love that stuff. They put hummus on everything. Hummus is white people's new mayonnaise. Thank Allah for hummus. Sometimes they take it too far though. I called my friend Bob to go out to dinner the other day. He's boasting to me he was having dinner. His dinner was hummus. It's a spread for God's sake, not a meal. Sometimes I wonder if it took them so long to find Osama bin Laden because he made a killer baba ganoush.
I'm not gonna lie, when I go on Facebook and I get a message from somebody I haven't seen in a while or somebody I really like, or somebody commented something cool on something I posted or whatever, it's cool. But when I have a notification logo and it's just like to invite me to play some game or something, I'm like, oh, what a letdown. I thought I was getting attention, you know?
Yeah, pretty much on Facebook constantly. As terrible as that is.
Why is that terrible?
I don't know. I think being like plugged in all the time is sometimes unhealthy. It's better to sort of spend time with people who are present, right?
So my friend moved away to Chicago. Like my best friend moved away to Chicago. I've spent every day talking to her for the last 10 years. So to have that technology, if she has something important to say to me right now, I'd actually rather hear what she has to say.
And not wait 10 minutes?
Yeah, and we'll wait 10 minutes, like if I'm out for an evening with people, right? She's worth taking the break to check and to talk with.
So is it hard to meet people or easier to meet people?
It's easier to meet people, but I mean, it's all a social network, you know? You're meeting people on the net. You're not meeting people in real life. You're not having real interactions. You know what I'm saying?
It's all about how many friends you got, how many people you, I don't know, sleep with, but that's just something. It's all of this quantity. How many gigabytes of photos you've amassed, like how many gigabytes of video footage of your vacation you've amassed, you know? How many things do you have that then you can show to somebody, you know? Like, that's what it's all about.
You can hide who you are. You can pretend. You could be whoever you want to be. You know what I'm saying? But when people see you in real life, when you meet someone without cell phones, without the network, people judge you on who you are, not who you pretend to be.
I'm so skeptical of it as well. I just can't shake it. It's like a smoking habit. I don't know though. I feel like we're talking about something different here. This isn't like the television or radio or the automobile or telephone. Because now you're carrying it with you. It's being implanted in you, quite literally.
Yeah, you know, like now without your phone, you feel like naked, lost. It's crazy. Like you don't even remember your friends' numbers. You need it to Google. I need it like to Google Map to the next street. You know.
How has your life changed since you brought a smartphone into your life?
I think I can honestly say it's changed on the whole for the worse. It feeds my distracted personality, my proclivity to distraction.
Isn't it easier not to question it?
Of course, it's much easier. Look
at
that.
Don't we like things that are easy?
Look, you're getting a call now.
Ah, this silly phone.
Boing, 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 boing.
Oh, I have to take it, actually.
Yeah, take it.
I remember one time I was madly in love with this person, and I realized that he was still somewhat involved with his ex-girlfriend, and I sat myself down to an emotion that I'm really not comfortable with. I'm not often a very jealous person. Jealousy is a new thing for me.
So when something like you don't like something anymore, like you change it and you like replace it, and it's like this, and I feel like it's sad, kind of, sometimes. It's like, you just feel like an object or something. I don't know.
And I sat in jealousy. And that jealousy first turned into an anger. And then after the anger, after a couple of minutes there, it started turning into sadness.
Yeah, fully trusting is like the Buddha, you know. You have to completely be trustful of the relationship and have no doubt in your mind. As soon as the mind starts to doubt, then there is a problem, you know, and then you should ask yourself, what are you in it for it?
And I felt really sad. And then after the sadness, it changed into compassion. And when I sat with compassion, it was back to love at the end, but it was a different kind of love than that sort of love that floats above everything, where you put somebody on a pedestal, to a love that is weighted when you see somebody as a whole person for their beauties and their flaws and what they're working on, and you just care.
You know, there's no shortcuts to places worth going in life, yet all we're being given right now is the shortest shortcuts of all. It's less like A to B, you know? It's not about the destination, it's all about the journey. Forget it. That's not what we're being told right now. It's all about the destination and not how you got there. And I think that's really...
Sounds sad.
Yeah, it is.
Men in the audience, if you can do one thing, if you're in any kind of relationship, man, woman, whatever, listen.
It's good advice.
Good advice. And accept. And say I love you lots.
All good advice.
That wraps up the first edition of The Street Speaks. Thank you for sharing, Montrealers, and thank you for watching. Our hashtag is StreetSpeaks514, and if you want to take a short break from your cell phone and join me in our Speakers Corner, I will be filming again very, very soon, so don't be shy. I can be reached at thestreetspeaks514@gmail.com, and I will reply. Promise. See you next time.
My name is Julian, you're watching The Street Speaks, and I love you.
I love you too. Thanks, man.
No problem.